Islam is, it's a way of life for all. It is taught in the Quran for big and small. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way.
Welcome to this episode of
Tell Us About Islam.
Tell Us About Islam. I'm your host, Yusuf Estes, and today we have with us Ismail. Ismail, how old are you?
9 years old.
9 years old. Tabish, how old are you?
9 years old.
MashaAllah. Faiz, how old are you?
11 years old.
11. Oh, you're an old guy. Okay. MashaAllah. And we have the ladies over here. Zia.
11 years old.
Another 11 years old. MashaAllah. We have Asna with us.
9 years old.
9 years old. And Fatima.
9 years old.
9 years old. And you're all going to what school?
Islamic International School.
Islamic International School. And people think I'm doing a commercial for them. I'm not. I just want you to realize how important it is to start early with the children to give them the proper knowledge of real Islam based on the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad. So we've asked the children to be with us today to talk about a favorite subject that they might have. Well, I guess we'll start over here with you, and then we'll go to the ladies and switch back and forth. Be all right? Okay. Ismail, you have a subject for us today.
Yes.
What is it?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Allah? You're going to talk about Allah. Now that's a big subject. All right. Well, the belief in Islam is that there really is Allah. And what I like about Islam especially is that we can prove it. I remember when I was not a Muslim that I was trying to change a man who was a Muslim to come over to what my faith was. And while I was talking to him, he said, well, I'll become whatever you are, whatever your belief is, if you have proof. I said, what? Proof? He said, yeah. I said, you mean to tell me you think in religion is about proof? It's about faith. He said, in Islam, we have both. We have faith and we have proof. I said, do you mean to sit there and tell me as a Muslim you can prove there's God? He said, do you mean to sit there and tell me as a preacher for your religion that you can't? I said, huh? Oh. So I wanted to know, what's the proof? Is there really a proof that there's God? He says in the Quran that he will show us his proofs, his ayat, on the furthest horizons and within ourselves. And I'm thinking, well, that's what your book says, but still, how do I know that's a proof? He said, read it. Well, now some people told me, don't read that Quran. Whatever you do, don't read that book. I said, really? They said, yeah, be careful. You might get a demon, you know, a shaitan. That's what they told me. So somebody gave me a Quran. And I said, I'm going to read it. Because I want to know about it. I want to know about this God he's talking about, right? So I said, oh God, protect me from the devil while I open this book and read it. What do Muslims say when they open up the Quran? A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. I seek refuge with Allah from the condemned devil. And I opened it up, and as I began to read, I could understand that it couldn't be from a human being. Because first of all, it was saying things that humans don't really understand or know. And it was clear on these subjects. It was talking about so many different things 1,400 years ago that we're only learning today. The science and the miracles that we find in the Quran are clear. But our subject is about Allah. And he told me, this person talking to me, he said, we don't need even to rely on the Quran because we can use what the Quran taught us. Use your head. Use your mind. Look around. If you see a car going down the road, you see a car, it's going down the road. Do you have to see the car being made to know that it's a car? No, you look at it, you say it's a car. Do you believe it was made in a factory? Yeah. You don't think it fell out of a tree, do you? No. So you don't have to see somebody make the car to know that those cars are made in a factory. And another one he said, like if you look at a portrait or a picture on the wall, You know, a painting? And you see a beautiful painting. Do you need to see the guy paint it to know that it's a painting? No, you won't say, oh, accidentally some paint fell on here and it made this beautiful picture. No, you know somebody made it. So now look to the universe. Look at the moon. See the sun where it is. And watch the stars at night. Look to the mountains, the rivers, the trees, the flowers, all the beautiful things that we see around us all the time. And you know what? Human beings can't make that. So the proof? Well, the proof is right in front of you. All of this did not come by accident. And whoever said that it all came by an accident, that's sad to imagine that he thought that he's an accident. All of us, we came from the creation of Allah. So the first and foremost thing is be able to prove it. Many things in the Quran prove so much. We have websites that help us to do the same thing to prove it today in the English language. But one of the other things about Allah for us as believers is that we know that Allah is more than just the creator and the sustainer. He's the one who's so close to us in his knowledge, close to us in his love, close to us in his mercy, close to us in his forgiveness, his sight, his hearing, so that any time, anywhere we are, we can always think about Allah and know that he's close to us. And now let's find out from Zia, what is your subject?
Iman.
Iman. Iman translates to English from Arabic as what word?
Faith.
Faith. Now that's the other side of what I ran into. Because I believed in faith, but I didn't know about the proof. That's why I was telling you about the proof that we find in Islam. There's so many evidences and proofs that there really is a law. But after you see the proof, then it's important to have Iman in that proof. So whoever knows the proof of Allah, they know there really is Allah. They'd have no doubt in their mind. Now they need to work on their Iman. And how do we do that? Well, the Iman in Islam is based on 6 clear principles. To believe in Allah, to believe in his angels, to believe in his books, to believe in his prophets, to believe in the resurrection and day of judgment, and to believe in the qadr of Allah. All of these things are part of the Iman in Allah. Very critical, very important. We must always keep this in mind. Because what we believe about Allah and those other things that I mentioned determines whether or not we're really believers. And when somebody has Iman, they're called a mu'min. Mu'min from the word Iman. Now what do we believe about Allah? Well, we believe that Allah is one. He has no partners. He's the creator and sustainer of everything that exists. And he has many wonderful attributes. But we never compare Allah to anything in the creation. We don't make the mistake of saying Allah is like this, Allah is like that. Because everything in the creation was made by Allah, and he's not living or dwelling in the creation. Although his qualities are as close to you as your own vein in your neck. These qualities include his love, his mercy, his kindness, and of course his compassion, many things that we've talked about before. So this Iman is very important. What do we believe about the angels? What do we believe about the books? All of these things are critical for us. So now I'm going to come over to you, Tavish. What would you like your subject to be about?
Malaika.
Malaika. What is Malaika in English?
Angels.
Angels. What are angels made out of?
Light.
Light. And now, angels are created by Allah. The very first of the creation of Allah is angels. What did Allah create them from? Light? And did Allah tell them they could do whatever they want to do?
No.
No. They have to do?
What Allah commands them.
They only do what Allah commands them. That's true. See, what happened, Allah created the angels. Angels, they have eyes, they have mouths, they have bodies, and they're made from light, and they do what Allah commands them, and he commands angels to do many things. He makes hundreds of thousands and thousands and thousands of angels. We only know the names of a few. There's one, he's the angel of death. He's called Malak al-Maut. There's another one called Israfil. And there's another one, and his name is Jabril. You know Jabril? He's called the archangel. And do you know what his name is in English?
Gabriel.
Gabriel, that's right. Jibril is the same angel, exact same one that came to the prophets before. And he's the one that brought the messages to these other prophets, just like he brought it to Muhammad. So one of the jobs of angels is to bring the message to the people by way of a very special person that Allah chooses, selects them, and then he gives message to them, then they give it to the people. That's how the message of the Quran came to us from the angel Gabriel, because Allah commands them to do that. Angels come in all sizes. There's some that are very, 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 very big, but they can appear small, even the size of a human being. And Jibril did that. He acted and walked and moved around like a man one time. Allah let people see him, and they thought it was a man, but it was really the angel Gabriel. But another time when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, saw him, he filled up the whole horizon as far as you could see in any direction. He was so huge. And wings? How many wings do you think he had? Not just two. More than like 700 wings. Can you imagine this? So many wings, and so big is the angel Jibril. And the angel of death, Malakul Maut, he's the one who takes people's soul. When they die, he's the one that takes their soul out of them. And for some people, it hurts really, really bad. And for other people, it's just like, oh, a pinprick or something like that. Depends, you know. If you're good, it hardly hurts at all when you die. But the really bad ones, oh, it's terrible. And in the very end, when Allah commands all the things to end, it's going to be over, finished. Then he's going to tell the angel of death, go take everybody's soul. And the angel of death will do that. He'll take the soul of every human and of every jinn. Then of all the angels, until there's only one angel left. You know which angel it is? Jibril. Only Jibril will be left, and Malakul Maut. And Malakul Maut will be commanded by Allah, take the soul of Jibril, alayhi salam. And he will take even his soul. So that the angel Jibril, he'll die too. Then Allah will command the angel of death, take your own life. Take your own soul out. And as he starts to do it, he feels the pain, and he said, oh, if I knew it felt like this, I could have never taken the first one. And that'll be the end of all the people, and all the jinn, and all of the angels. But then Allah will make them all come back again. And that's another story. But this is a little bit about angels. We've got a whole lot more on our websites about that. But I need to move to the next subject. That's now, what do you have for us?
Jinn.
The jinn, and what are they made out of?
Smokeless fire.
Smokeless fire. Do you know what jinn means? It's related to the word Jannah and Jahannam, because none of these things you can see. We cannot see those things. We believe that there's a paradise, a Jannah. We believe there's a hellfire, Jahannam. Don't want to go there. And we believe in the jinn, they exist. But we don't see them. And you said they're made from a smokeless fire. Now we know angels are made from light. Jinn are made from smokeless fire. Now can the jinn do anything they want to do?
Yes.
They do, that's right. And they can make mistakes. You see, the angels, they can't make any mistakes. Because why? Because only Allah is commanding. They're just doing what they're told. But the jinn, they have a choice. Do it or don't. And the jinn were created after angels, but before the human beings. Now, before we go any further, I want to take a break. You're watching. Tell us about Islam, and we'll be back right after this. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Islam is alive.
Welcome back to Tell Us About Islam. We've been talking with the children here about the subject of Allah, the belief in Allah, the Iman. Then we talked about a creation of Allah, the angels, and after that came the creation of the jinn. Let's come to Faiz. Faiz, what's your subject?
Halal and haram.
Halal. What is halal?
Things which are permissible.
And what is haram?
Things which are not permissible.
The things that are not permissible, the forbidden things. So if you want to talk about that, that's excellent. You know why? Because we're talking about the human being. He's being tested every day by Allah. There are things you can do, things that you can't do. Things you must do. There are things you must do, and things that you must not do. And all of this comes under this category. Now, the things that we must do, we must believe in Allah, or else you're not a believer. And we must do what Allah wants us to do as much as we can. and worship Allah alone with no partners. We must. There are some other things too that we must not do. We must not drink alcohol. We must not eat pork, you know, the khanzir. We can't do that. There are things that we must do and things we must not do. All of that's the halal and the haram. But there's something very easy to remember. Even when you're brand new to Islam, even somebody that's, you know, just getting started with Islam, and they get confused. Do I do this? I can't do that. Oh, I'm getting confused. I don't know what, I'm scared, you know. Only thing you have to remember is in the general life, the day-to-day things, in your work, in your school, traveling, things that you do, everything is okay to do it. Everything is okay except what we find in Islam, which is forbidden. So if we don't find any evidence against it, then you can do it. But when it comes to the ibadah or the worship in Islam, then everything is not permitted unless you can find the evidence to do it. Everything has to have a proof or else you can't do it when it comes to worship. But everything else, you can do it unless you find proof against it. Let's take an example. I go out. I can walk where I want to go? Yes. Unless something in Islam said don't walk there. So I go into a building. Can I go in? Yes. Unless Islam says don't go in that building. I sit down. Can I sit? Yeah. Islam doesn't say you can't sit. No, I want to have a drink. Can I have a drink? Sure, have a drink all you want except what's forbidden. Can I drink alcohol? Wine, beer? No. Why? Islam said no, that you can't do. So this I don't do. But everything else okay. Can I sit with people that drink alcohol? No. Islam said don't sit with those people that drink alcohol. Get away from them. Okay, so now I understand how it works. Now suppose I want to go to worship Allah. I go to the masjid. Can I go to the masjid? Yeah, I have to. Actually, a man, he needs to go to the masjid as much as he can every day. 5 times a day. If he can, he should do his prayers in the masjid. True? So now I go to the masjid. Can I sit down? Yeah. In fact, it's good for you to sit down after you do 2 rak'ah. First pray and then sit down. This is what Islam teaches us. Okay. Now, can I stand up? Well, actually, I have to stand up when the imam wants them to call the iqamah. I have to get up to join the prayer, right? Can I pray? Oh, I have to pray. So no problem there. But can I pray extra? Let's say that I'm praying behind the imam and it's time for Fajr. That's in the morning and there's 2 rak'ah. The imam, he quits after 2 rak'ah because he's supposed to. And I say, no, I want to keep praying. So I stand up and keep going. Can I do that? No, why? Because we don't have any evidence for it. There's no proof for it. But we do have proof that you stop when the imam stops, follow the imam, right? If you start making up things and doing them in the ibadah, then it becomes what's called bid'ah, an innovation which we didn't want. We don't want something in Islam that's not supposed to be there. But the things in the life you can do. Let me give you another example. Somebody invented microwave oven. Is it halal?
Yes.
It's halal. Because you can use it. I hope so, because I cook my coffee in it every day. The microwave oven, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's brand new, and they didn't have it at the time of Muhammad, did they? But you can have it. What about a car? They didn't have cars. Can we use a car? Of course we can. Suppose somebody said, well, I have some new invention to worship Allah. Huh? You know what a pogo stick is? The kind of stick you hold like this and you jump on the stick. Huh? And he jumps on the stick and he said, Allah, 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 jumping on the stick. Jumping on the stick. I'm worshiping Allah. And I do this for 15 minutes and then I don't need to do salat. What about this good idea? Huh? He said, no, wait, I did it 15 minutes, that's more. My salat was only 5 minutes. And I did this 15, so it'd be better. Would that be okay? No, absolutely not. Because, see, this is different. This is what Allah wants in worship. You don't play with that. One of the things in our worship, we follow the Quran. We follow the Quran and we believe in it and we do what it says. This is our book. Does it mean I can't read any other books? Of course not. I can read all the books I want to read. But when it comes to a decision in my life, I want to be sure that I follow this book instead of some book made up by a human being. Huh? Because I have another book at home written by a human being, and it says that if a person drinks a little bit of beer every day, it's good for their stomach. It says it in a book that I have. You drink a little bit of beer, it's good for you. But this one said no. Which one will I take?
Yes.
Why? Because obviously this one's from Allah. This is from a crazy guy trying to sell beer, right? I'm trying to make it so it's simple to understand your subject. Halal is clear. Haram is clear. Then there is an area in between halal and haram which makes people doubt. Prophet ﷺ said, halal is clear, haram is clear, and in the middle there's some doubt. Leave the doubt. Leave the thing that makes you doubt for the thing that doesn't make you doubt. So if you're not sure, leave the thing you're not sure about and go with what you're sure of. Make sense? Yeah, that's a big subject. We could talk all day about that, but then we wouldn't get a chance to talk to Fatima about her subject. And I really want to find out, what did you choose as a subject today?
Nur Allah, the light of Allah.
The light of Allah. Where do we have something about this in Islam?
Surah Nur,
In the Quran, Surah An-Nur. What does Nur mean?
the light.
Light. Now, a minute ago, we were talking about the angels. We said the angels were made from light. But when we talk about Allah, do we think Allah is made out of light? No. Allah is the light. He's called An-Nur, not Nur, An-Nur. And it means that Allah is the source of all light. Everything that comes, has light, has to originate from Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah is the light, the ultimate light, all the light. The light of Allah is explained in the Quran. It compares it like if you had a container with olive oil and burning of itself so bright, so brilliant, and reflecting from a niche that's light on light on light. It says Nur ala Nur, light upon light, light after light after light. And this is the brilliance of the light of Allah. When we talk about the light of Allah, it's not a light that you could really explain. It's not a light that you can turn on and off. It is a brilliant light that even affects how you feel and how you think. This is enlightenment that comes from Allah. And do you know, we just ran out of time in this program, but we've got more programs and we're going to continue these subjects. And our next programs tell us about Islam. But for now, we'll bid you peace. So from all of us to all of you, Salam Alaikum.
Do you know what Islam is? It's a way of life for all. It is taught in the Quran for big and small. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life.